All right. It's been a long time coming. Week long, in fact. But we are live inside the War Room alongside Sam Corcoran. I'm Srikar Gender. Number one question on your mind. Where is Chris? We're asking the same thing.
This is probably pulled to Sam Corcoran and fallen asleep again. But we'll see. He might be joining later, so
hey, you know I don't sleep. Sam was sleeping for the Noche predictions. Chris was sleeping here. I don't sleep. I am a vamp. I do not.
We got a card that you can probably fall asleep to this weekend. So maybe
we do
getting his slumber, preparing, thinking about that card. So
and we'll get into UFC
Perth. Should not sleep on was this Dana White Contender Series card
for sure. Hey, before we start, I know we glossed past it. Thank you guys so much for 100 subs. We were on the push for it last week. We never got to fully acknowledge it, and that's our bad. We decided to take the weekend.
We really took the week off.
Yeah, it's a recharge week. We got 9 straight weeks of events coming up. We wanted to, if we were going to take a break, it was going to be here. But, obviously we are back. But Contender Series, man, definitely great. We're going to go through every single contract winner, which was 6, not 5. We had 5 fights and we had 5 winners, but 6 that's how you know it was a banger week. Starting off with the first fight, Rafael Tobias. That was solid. I think the striking is still raw, but I think the instincts are there. He's got timing, feints, good shot selection. You give him the right coaches and a couple more reps, and he's going to be dangerous. Once it hit the mat, it wasn't even close. He was in full control. For De Oliveira, hopefully this is a reality check for him. He's got potential, but he's nowhere near ready for this level just yet. But first contract of the night, Rafael Tobias. Sam.
Yeah, I love that nickname, by the way. Bipolar Tobias. I love that nickname. And look, this guy's a dog right now. He's 22 and he's 14-1. This guy is absolutely on the up. He's one of the best. I'll say it right now. I think this guy has a chance to be one of the best light heavyweights to ever come out of Brazil. Wow. With Alex Pereira, I know that's a big name. With Glover Teixeira, there's not as I feel like when you think of Brazilian fighters, you think of a bit of like lower level fighters. There's not many of these upper weight class fighters, so it's a little easier when I say that. But he's 22 and he's 14-1. Has a lot of round 1 finishes. He does it again tonight with a rear naked choke. He's well rounded. He can knock you out. He can wrestle. I like where this guy's headed in a light heavyweight division that's not the most stacked. A well rounded fighter in this division. I mean, look at who's the champion right now, Magomed Ankalaev. What a lot of people like to consider a well-rounded fighter. If that's going to be the precedent after this division, then this guy is a force to be reckoned with. And he showed it tonight against Oliveira.
I said wow after you said that because if you guys are really true fans of the War Room MMA podcast, or the MMA War Room podcast, excuse me, you would know that Sean O'Malley was the comparison for Bison Gorsuser Kayev, Dana White's Contender Series Week 1.
So for you to bring up to Alex Pereira,
ladies and gentlemen, it's Rafael Tobias, the next Alex Pereira.
No, that is a stretch. He's not the next Alex Pereira. There are levels to Sean O'Malley and Alex Pereira. One is a superstar, and the other is Sean O'Malley.
Yeah, I mean, Sean O'Malley's a star. People are tuning in for Sean O'Malley.
I think a superstar is someone that can also defend his belt. I know O'Malley did that once, but that was just once.
Yeah, it was against Tito too. It should have been robbed from the jump, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, but this was a fun fight overall.
Definitely was. One that Tobias was in control of the entire time. Another guy who looked super in control, Javier Reyes. He looked elite out there. He got a short notice opponent in Justice Torres, but Torres is still a legit threat in any situation. Reyes did not let him dictate anything, turned it into a gritty, high-paced fight instead of letting Torres play his game. Sometimes it's that simple. Reyes was just the better fighter, and it showed.
Yeah, and this wasn't just the only short notice guy he was taking on. He had 2 other fights confirmed for this bout, and Torres is the guy that stepped up short notice. So good for him. Look, it's a good knockout. Needed that badly, especially at 31. You got to really it's kind of a make or break for him, and he gets it.
13 I don't know. 31 is technically the prime of your career in MMA.
Exactly. So he is in his prime. And yeah, he's 31, 22-5. So he has a lot of experience under his belt. I think that could potentially help him in the UFC. against maybe when he comes in the UFC, he might get one of these younger guys, not as experienced, I feel like, also trying to prove a point. And I think that experience is really going to help him in the cage so far. I don't know how far it will get him. I don't really see him being like a ranked guy, maybe not like a top 15 contender. I want to see a little bit more before I see that. I think the best I could see Javier Reyes being right now, just after that fight, is a gatekeeper. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, because I think honestly, if you can be a gatekeeper in the UFC, that's pretty successful in general. But I want to see a little bit more with how much changed for him, with how many fighters he was supposed to fight, and the short notice fight at the end that he dominated. And I think the consensus was he was going to dominate all night long. I want to see a little more from him.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing about Gatekeeper is that obviously he's coming off Contender Series. We haven't seen him fight a UFC fight, and that's how it is for everyone. These are all projections. But the telling thing about that is how he's going to perform against younger prospects compared to the more experienced guys in the division, because I think that's going to be telling of if you're a gatekeeper or not. Dan Ige had to go through that. Magny had to go through that. Christian Rodriguez had to do that too. We'll see if Javier Reyes fits that mold. But in my eyes, I thought he looked great. I really like that he kept it high pressure. He just walked Torres down the entire time. He wasn't afraid. And those fighters usually end up, doing some really good work in the UFC, and they usually get the bonuses too. Don't be surprised if we see Reyes in a fight of the night in the future. But
I would be shocked.
Speaking of the fight of the night.
Oh my God. Yeah. This is a hell of a transition, Srikar.
Chavez versus Montenegro. Wow, man. I can't say I agreed with that decision. Dana White did not agree with it either, but credit where it's due. Chavez really surprised me. Her record's rough, but she landed some nice shots, and when she got comfortable, her striking looked crisp. Honestly, I'm very happy both of them got contracts. That was a scrap, and both fighters showed they would give unranked flyweights a ton of problems.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, what is it with these ranked heavyweight? I mean, not ranked. Excuse me, what the fuck am I talking about? Pardon my language. I'm tired. It's late. These women's fighters on Dana White's Contender Series being so great. I don't know why ranked heavyweight came to mind. That was a really weird brain fart. I don't know.
So much that you had to drop the F-bomb.
Yeah, dude, It's been a long week already. I had the week
the
off.
FCC is not watching this right now. We're good.
Yeah, I know. We're all good. But nonetheless, these fights have been so good. And I did not watch this fight in person. I watched some of the highlights and the replays after, read about it. This definitely, I don't necessarily know if I agree with this decision, but what I do agree with is both of these fighters deserve contracts. And at the end of the day, that's really all that matters on Dana White's Contender Series. It was a bloody fight, punishing battle. Everyone at the end, I feel like everyone just walks away happy. Even Montenegro, I know you got robbed, but you're still getting the contract. Dana White sees you as a valuable asset to the UFC, and you're going to get a good fight in the women's flyweight division. You might get a ranked heavyweight bout. Maybe we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, exciting times for women's fights. I think this was a great one. Last week's fight was, I think, a lot better, but this one was up there with one of the best of the year.
Yeah, I think it's very close. Obviously, last week was Chanel Dyer versus Carol Foro. An amazing fight in its own right. And that's very interesting. Both women's fights that we saw this season were probably two of the best fights of the entire season. Like, it's crazy. All four women got contracts, and obviously it's rare to see in any occasion, even when it's not the women's fighters. But the fact that it happened for both women's fights, it really goes to show you women's MMA is really on the rise. It's looking really good. Every prospect that comes in, I mean, they were both very much scraps, and we'll see how they perform in the UFC when, you're not fighting for that contract anymore. You're already on a contract. But
yep,
I think it was really, really fun to watch. This one was bloody right from the get-go. We saw Montenegro get opened up with a cut, a huge gash on the side of her head very early on. And from there, it was just both fighters blooding each other up and having a great time in the cage. Montenegro just walking down Chavez with a smile on her face. Absolute mad women. But it was a great fight. Definitely one that we'll look back on. Hopefully they go far in their careers and we'll say, wow, they really showed it from the get-go.
These are two fighters I can definitely see going far in their careers. Just two gritty warriors out there. That's what you need in women's MMA, I feel like.
100%, 100%. This one went the distance, but the next one did not. Murtazali Magomedov did not waste any time going up against Zurcher. Got the knockout. Zurcher had me nervous right from the opening minute. Big, goofy overswing on a punch, left himself wide open defensively. And Magomedov is way too clean a striker to miss opportunities like that. And sure enough, that jab set up the finishing sequence. Would have been cool to see some grappling exchanges. Obviously, Magomedov, kind of like that Dagestani mold. And you look at Zurcher, a guy who's Mexican, but actually fit the 2-3 years Dagestan mold. Actually worked with Khabib and Islam. So it would have been cool to see some stuff on the mat. But when you're that efficient on the feet, if you're Magomedov, you don't need him. You really don't. So very, very efficient performance for Magomedov and easy contract there.
Yeah, well, I mean, Srikar, you talk about the Dagestani striking all the time. This is where it comes in. I know he's Kyrgyzstani, but he's trained in Dagestan.
Yeah.
This one ended a lot quicker than yeah, exactly. Close enough, too. This one ended a lot quicker than I thought, and I think that said a lot about Magomedov than it did about Zurcher. 10-0. This is a featherweight bout. I really like where he's headed with this. Made quick work of it. That's what you need to do in the UFC, especially in a loaded featherweight division. The guys that make quick work are the guys that are the superstars in the division. I know you look at guys who can knock you out. Ilia Topuria when he was in featherweight. Diego Lopez. John Silva. Volk. Volk doesn't always make quick work anymore, but hey, he used to in the past.
I mean, even in his heyday, he wasn't making quick work.
Even in his heyday, man. I mean, it's been a minute since he had a quick fight, but that's also him fighting Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria, and then going up against probably the guy with the most iron chin in the UFC, Diego Lopez. But point being, if you're making quicker of these guys, you should take notice. And 10-0 right off the bat, it's looking great for Magomedov right now. So I like where he's headed, especially in this loaded featherweight division, which will take some time to get used to. But going in with an undefeated record is massive for him.
Yeah, I'm trying to think the last time, now that you've said, I'm trying to think the last time Volk got a quick finish. Obviously, his last finish was against Yair Rodriguez at UFC 290. That came at the end of the third round. Then he fought TKZ. That ended in the fourth. Brian Ortega went to decision. All the Holloway fights went to decision, obviously. When was the last time he got a quick finish? Was it Chad Mendes?
No, you want a crazy stat? The last time he had a finish in round 1, he was not even in the UFC.
I was thinking, I feel like the Chad Mendes fight, I think that ended in a finish.
Yeah, Jeremy Kennedy ended in a finish. That's the last real Chad Mendes. Yeah, sorry, Chad Mendes is really the last one.
But it goes to show you the different types of
bouts. But
and it's crazy because you mentioned all the knockout artists, and the GOAT of the division is a technical master who, takes his time.
He could do whatever you want. He could take his time. He doesn't have to knock you out right away. So, by the way, shout out to Jong Dong right here. What's up, man?
Hey, what's up, man? How we doing? Joining us at a good time because we're about to get to the final fight on this week's Contender Series. Montas, I'm not even going to try and pronounce the last name. Montas.
Kondratavicius. Kondratavicius.
Montas Jazdavicius. We'll go with that. Shout out Jasmine Jazdavicius. The timing on that cross was absolutely money. Yeah, maybe the stoppage came a little quick, but honestly, I don't hate it. Barbera was in a bad spot. It would have been tough for him to work his way out of there without eating a ton of extra damage. Better to save him from that kind of punishment. But Montas looks sharp. Very happy he got a contract. Hopefully he puts in work. Yeah, plain and simple. This guy looked really good.
Yeah, and I think, frankly, I thought it was a good stoppage. I completely agree with that. He went. It felt like when you watched that, he went out on that first punch and then got back up. I think that's like when you have to. It's when you have to stop the fight. If you go out at one point, you're done. And we've seen fights like that in the past where someone goes out. The point in case, Zhang Weili, Yang Xiaonan. Xiaonan goes out round 1. They don't stop the fight, and the rest of the fight is atrocious. So if you go out, you're out. That should be a rule in the UFC. But nonetheless, I liked what I saw from Kondratavicius. Just powerful. That's like my big takeaway is powerful. I think middleweight's a good place for him. I'd still another guy where I want to see a little bit more of. But I mean, he did dominate the fight all along. It was just really a one punch And I feel like he could probably have some knockouts in the future, which is even more powerful too. So I'm excited to see this guy.
It's interesting you brought up that when you're out, you're out. I'm thinking of all the fights that would have been different had that logic been put into play. Obviously, Merab Dvalishvili would not have beat Marlon Moraes. He would have gotten finished. Yuri Prohaska would have lost to Dom Reyes. Crazy enough, because Dom Reyes hit him with an up kick, and Yuri said he went out for like 2 seconds. But because the ref was not in an angle where he could look at his eyes or see his face, he was in side control.
That's crazy.
They kept it going, and Yuri ended up hitting him with a spinning back elbow. Like, it's crazy how these things work. And being a ref is obviously a tough job. Definitely tougher than we give it credit for, but I definitely agree with Sam. In this situation, you don't want a fighter to take extra damage. If they're out and they're kind of just in a vulnerable spot, just call the fight. So honestly, pretty good work from the ref there. But that'll do it. 6 contract winners. We had, quite a bit to talk about with Contender Series this week.
What is up with these? I mean, I want to make one more point about Contender Series, and I feel like it's kind of an evergreen thing that we can bring up any week. But they're just handing out contracts left and right, man.
Because the fighters earn them.
Fighters earn them, man. I like what they're doing. Awesome. Like, if you earn it, and I think through this, like, I hope we can just get. I feel like there's going to be. We need a bit more of a youth movement in the UFC. I feel like, especially in some certain parts of the world, because right now there's a lot of fighters. I mean, frankly put, there's a lot of fighters that just don't deserve a UFC contract. MMA is a big sport. The UFC should be the best of the best. If you're losing a lot of UFC fights, you got to get out of there. And I think I like what they're doing on Dana White Contender Series, just like putting pressure on these guys. All right, you have one more fight left. You got to win this fight because we have a guy right behind you that's ready, and we don't really want to pay you anymore. I won't bring up any names, but point in case, this Australia card this week is absolutely atrocious. I'll talk about it more on Thursday. I may not even be on the stream Thursday, so we'll see what happens.
We'll get it out today. Then we'll talk about Perth in a little bit.
We'll talk about Perth. You want to just talk about Perth now?
Not yet. Let's talk about Perth now. If you guys are new to the stream, if you guys are just popping in, all the socials down here, go follow us on our socials, subscribe to the channel, do whatever to make this stream go crazy. We really appreciate you having in here.
Before we get to Perth, quick question from Jong Dong.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about this a little later too, John.
And give us questions. Give us questions in the chat.
Questions, we'll answer. If Gamrot beats Charles, do you think the UFC gives him the title shot over Arman since the UFC doesn't like Arman? I'll break it down a little more later at what I think is going to happen. But right now, the short answer is no. We'll talk about that a little bit later and preview it. But short answer is no.
Like, I get that Arman's in a bad spot with the UFC that he has put himself in, obviously. Yes. Honestly, okay, here's what I'm thinking. If Oliveira beats Gamrot, could you set up Oliveira versus Patty? Could you realistically do that? I think it's possible. Could you do Oliveira versus Gaethje? I think that's also a possibility. I think Arman's in a situation where he's going to be fighting in Qatar. I think he's going to be fighting Dan Hooker. I think that's going to be the next play, and I think they're going to make that for 5 rounds.
That should be a main event, without a doubt.
That should 100% be a main event.
Yeah. If you have the number one of the 5-round electric division fighting, that's a main event.
100%. We haven't seen Arman Tsarukyan since UFC 300. It would be a long-awaited return. Dan Hooker always brings the energy. He brings great fights. But if Gamrot did beat Charles, it would shake up the division quite a bit. And obviously, we're going to go into it in a little bit. But first of all, let's just talk about this abominable UFC Perth card, which originally had a light heavyweight co-main event of Ibo Aslan and Junior Tafa, which has now been scrapped.
Not be named.
It's been scrapped.
Please,
thank God.
Just that happened, by the way. I know that I should have done like a live reaction to when that got strapped. What are you waiting for, Dana White? Just get rid of Junior Tafa, please. This guy's terrible. He stinks. Get rid of Justin Tafa while you're at it.
Or at the very least, feed Junior Tafa to a prospect. Feed him to Tobias. Honestly, feed Junior Tafa to Rafael Tobias. I think that makes sense. If you're going to at least,
this is where the Dana White Contender Series guys can come in and just destroy them. I think, honestly, like, you look at Justin Tafa. If for some reason he doesn't get cut, he's fighting Louis Sutherland. If he doesn't get cut after that, you give him to, what was the guy? The guy last week from Minnesota who lost like 500 pounds. What was his name?
Steven Asplund?
Asplund, yeah. Feed him to Asplund or feed him to Josh Hokett or something. Louis Sutherland and Junior and Justin Tafa on a main event. Are you kidding me? This is atrocious, dude.
Yeah.
Not main event, on a main card, I should say. The
Yeah.
co-main event is Jimmy Crute and Ivan Arslan right now. And no disrespect to Jimmy Crute because he's a good fighter, but what are we doing here? That should be a prelim fight.
The UFC has definitely gone for quantity over quality with this card. There's 14 fights on the card. They were shooting for 17. It's just too many fights. Like, I'm never going to say no to more fights, but like, you got to have more quality. Like, I feel like it's so swamped to the point where it's just not a good card. Like, it's just not something.
I honestly think 14 fights is fine, but there's one good fight on the card. Actually, no, I'll say Jake Matthews and Neil Magny is a good fight. There's two like fights I'm actually excited to watch on this card. Let
me go through the bout order real quick.
What?
Let me go through the bout order. Let me see like what fights are actually like interesting to me.
I can read it right now. This is on the UFC website, so it may be a little out of order, but Carlos Ulberg versus Dominick Reyes, objectively a banger. I will give the UFC credit. Banger fight. Jimmy Crute versus Ivan Arslan. Good fight, should not be the co-main event of any card. Maybe an Apex card, but not a co-main event for Perth.
Sure.
Jack Jenkins versus Ramon Tavares.
Good fight. That's a great fight.
Okay.
That's going to be a great fight.
Jake Matthews versus Neil Magny. Banger.
That's a big fight too.
I'm not even going to talk about the Tafa fight. We already know how we feel about that. Tom Nolan versus Charlie Campbell.
Yeah, I like this fight too. I think striker versus striker. I think
it's fine. Both guys are fairly new. 9-1 versus 9-2. Again, just like that. That's the main card, though.
Yeah, I feel like for a fight night, definitely underwhelming.
Yeah, this is just underwhelming. Navarro Sterling versus Rodolfo Bellato.
Okay, that one's a banger.
That's a good one. But that's a prelim fight. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, feature prelim, to be fair. But yeah,
it is.
That should be on the main card.
Yeah. Cam Rouston versus Andre Petroski. It's a good fight, but it's like, I mean, Rouston's good. Rouston had a good Dana White Contender Series showing. Petroski's on a loss. It's two names that, like, if you follow the UFC, if you've been following the UFC recently, you'll know, but that's about it. Jonathan Mikulev versus Oban Elliott.
That's a fun fight.
It's fun. I mean,
it's a good fight.
Jamie Malarkey versus Rolando Bedoya. Who?
Hey, Rolando Bedoya was that boy once upon a time. But yeah, we're at a point where, that's not like the most amazing fight.
Kobe Thickness versus Josias Musasa. Who?
I mean, hopefully, Colby Thickness just fought Alessandro Topuria. Josias Musasa coming off the loss to, I believe, Carlos Vera. Which was a big upset. Musasa was a minus 1,000 favorite.
Those are both their first losses, I will say. So it's a good proven fight, but that's it. Michelle Montag versus number 15 in the bantamweight division, Luana Carolina. The women's bantamweight division is terrible, respectfully terrible. The fact that that's a ranked fight is crazy. Brando Perisic versus Alicia Ellison.
Nah, not a good one.
Not great. That's like two unranked heavyweights. Like, what the hell are we gonna do? No picture available either. For either guys. And then Loma Lukbuni versus Alexia Tainara.
Okay, that'll be a good women's fight.
That's gonna be a good fight. I actually like how they're opening that one with it. Get people excited while they're watching.
Before you go to Perisic and Ellison.
Yeah, before you get to like the rest of the card. I mean, realistically, that should be a main card fight, but let's be real. I mean, it's the loaded women's strawweight division, but people don't care as much about the strawweight division as I do.
Yeah,
that's going to be a good fight, though. Terrible. I will say. So, like, this is I can't even say, like, there's fun fights on this card, but you got to stack it more, man. I feel like every fight card should have. My personal rule is like every fight card in my book should have at least 4 bangers. And when I say bangers, I mean like it could be a ranked guy versus a ranked guy.
You know what? I think that's a problem that's going to be solved in 2026 when they go to Paramount.
With fewer cards?
Because, yes, but also in the sense that if it's on streaming, you have to make the cards good. Like, I don't know if it'll change for fight nights, but for pay-per-views at least, every pay-per-view will be a banger. Every single pay-per-view will be a banger next year. Like, that's been my big hot take going into next year. We're going to see some fire cards, including the potential White House card.
Yes. I
if
also
they
will
end up putting
say,
that on.
look, I also think one thing with the UFC, I think they have their hands a little limited with Australia right now. And I do want to give them that because, look, the two best Australian fighters are both champions. JDM and Volk are champions. You have Dan Hooker. He's got to fight up, though. You're not going to give a fighter fighting up a home bout. Like Armin and Dan Hooker is objectively not going to happen.
Yeah, unless you're a dog and you accept it. Yeah, they're not going to do that.
Unless you get offered a lot of money. Ulberg got it. Good for him. That was the main event you needed for this card. They got it right with the main event. But that's like it with Australian fighters right now. You're not going to have Steve Erceg fight. He just fought recently, and he's not good enough to main event a card. I'm trying to think who else.
Yeah, it's just like also who wants to fight in Australia? I think that's the bigger issue. Australia is like
far.
It's far, taxes. It's a tough, place to fight. You have to adjust to the time zone difference. It's just a lot of factors. So, you see fighters turning down Australia more often than not. But yeah, we get past this week and then we get into UFC 320 and then we get into Brazil and we get into the fire cards.
This is kind of just like the snoozer before the fighter.
It's a filler. It's definitely a filler.
Before the bangers, I should say.
Kind of like how an Apex card would generally be your filler. I consider this a filler card. Just not too enthralled by it. But any thoughts on the main event? I obviously you mentioned they got it right with Ulberg and Reyes. You don't have to give your official pick, but just what do you think about the fight, heading into Saturday?
I mean, I said this when this fight was announced. It's going to be interesting to see what's next for these fighters. Because, I mean, on paper, this looks like a light heavyweight title eliminator, Srikar.
Yeah.
But the week after, you have Yuri and Roundtree coming up. And that's the true title eliminator. So what happens with Ulberg and Reyes? Are they gonna sit? Is it like what they were planning to do with Vancouver before Fluffy Hernandez pulled out, where you have Imavov and then the winner of Fluffy and RDR, and then whoever just had the best performance gets the title shot? Is that what they're gonna do, or is Yuri guaranteed the title shot if he wins, or is Roundtree guaranteed the title shot if he wins? And then what do you do with Ulberg and Reyes? Ulberg's been on a bit of a hiatus too. Reyes has been active. If Reyes wins this fight, I think he's going to want to keep fighting. He has so much momentum going for him right now.
Well, it's interesting because Dom Reyes, during media day, he said the way he sees this whole thing playing out is that, yes, if he beats Ulberg, obviously Pereira Ankalaev plays out, but he thinks the winner of Yuri Roundtree will still end up getting the next shot. Just because they have it on the same card, it's easier to build up.
They
two
will.
fan favorite names in Roundtree and Yuri. And then if that comes to fruition, he said the way he sees it playing is Yuri beats Roundtree. They do Pereira Yuri again. Yuri beats Pereira, and then he gets the rematch against Yuri.
So the other question I want to propose: I'm gonna say if Pineda wins, because I think if Pineda loses, I think he's moving up to heavyweight. Actually, I think win or loss, he's moving up to heavyweight. I think this is going to be his last fight at light heavyweight. Yeah, I think regardless.
I think he'll fight again at light heavyweight. I think he'll defend.
I think he's done. What else do you have to prove at light heavyweight? You beat everyone. Do you really want to fight Roundtree or Yuri Prohaska again? The only guy that you would want a trilogy against is probably Ankalaev if you won. But why would you do that? Yeah, anyways, point being, in case if Ankalaev loses, does the winner of this Ulberg Reyes fight Ankalaev before getting another title shot?
You're saying the winner of Ulberg Reyes?
Yeah. Would they fight Ankalaev if he loses?
My
answer is no, but you have to be willing to take a lot of time off.
Yeah.
Well, actually, wait.
Pereira's active, though.
Wait, no. That doesn't make sense.
If Pereira moves up, there's going to be...
Yeah, I cracked the code in my head. Your next title fight is the winner of Yuri and Roundtree versus the winner of Ulberg and Reyes.
Yeah.
So the real question is, what do you do if Ankalaev wins?
Yeah, well, poor fellow. He's gonna fight a contender. That's literally what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I guess you could.
Maybe if Bogdan Guskov beats Jan Blachowicz, maybe.
Is that fight confirmed? I don't think that is, right?
I believe it is for Qatar.
Okay, I haven't seen that yet. I've also have not updated my spreadsheet in a minute. I got to do that, dude.
Get on the spreadsheet.
I gotta get back on track with my. Well, I just gotta get it back on track with my fight. I haven't updated the spreadsheet since the Shanghai fight. It's been a minute.
Sheesh. How many events have we had since then? We had
2.
France and Noche.
Yeah, we've had 2. I gotta do a whole sit down, update the rankings. I have Ty Burrow still at number 7, and Ante DeLija's.
Oh, buddy. Yeah, we gotta do something.
It's about time to update. We'll put it that way. Let's talk about a more fun card though. A new main event. Oliveira versus Gamrot. Charles Oliveira versus Mateusz Gamrot. It was supposed to be Rafael Fiziev. Now it's Gamrot. I'm not gonna lie. It's the perfect replacement. I wanted to see Fiziev, but it's the perfect replacement. Like that was really the only option. The other option we kind of were throwing around is Diego Lopez moving up to lightweight. And then our idea was, and Chris was involved in this too, is Oliveira Lopez for BMF title eliminator.
Oh, well, yeah,
for title eliminator, and then the winner fights Holloway. That would be great. I think with this Oliveira Gamrot fight, though, look, I think it's a good way to get both of these fighters back into title contention. Gamrot's hot. Oliveira needs a win. Ulberg needs multiple wins to get back in title contention. But right now, after he gets knocked out cold for the first time in his career, it's like, I think there's a lot of question marks going into this fight, Srikar. You've never seen Charles Oliveira get knocked out cold by Ilia Topuria. What's he going to do next? And I know there's this whole thing with Topuria where he beats one fighter and then the next fight they win. Against Gamrot, though, a surging Gamrot, I'm not 100% sure that happens yet. But
it's a grappling.
Again, you can't doubt Oliveira, though.
Yeah, honestly, I think my early lean is Charles Oliveira.
I would say so too.
But I think the thing is, it's much safer matchup for him than Fiziev was. I feel like taking that Fiziev fight was so ill-advised. But I agree. I think this was the perfect replacement. I think you look at the names that were thrown out there. I think Diego would have murked Oliveira. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think he would have.
Yeah, Diego Lopez is one of the. I'm honestly close to putting Diego Lopez in my pound for pound rankings. I know he's not a champion.
I would not go that far, but I feel like
I think he needs a belt. I think he needs a belt to do it. But man, he is close. He's a fight away from a title contention, and I think he wins that next fight against what I believe should be Movsar Evloev. Could be Aljamain Sterling. I think he wins that next fight, and I honestly think. I mean, it's interesting because with John Silva did have a great second round, but we'll see what happens. I'm a big Lopez fan, though. Anyways, I'm getting off track. What were we talking about?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I feel like Lopez and Max would have been like a perfect like sleeper next fight for Diego, just because you look at obviously the BMF belt is on the line. Lopez definitely fits the criteria of being a BMF. Yes. We've seen that over the past few weeks and throughout his whole career, if we're being real. Like from the moment he took that fight against Movsar on short notice and almost beat him, like we knew this guy was going to be like BMF material. But a fight with Holloway, that would have been really nice to see, because obviously if Lopez loses, it doesn't really hurt his stock much because, okay, he was undersized, he moved up, he stayed active, and he loses, it's fine. You're still in the featherweight title picture. You don't lose anything. And for Max Holloway, I feel like Lopez was less of a stylistic nightmare than an Arman Sarukian or, someone where he'd have to fight up. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it would be the perfect next BMF fight. And we'll see. The door is still open in the future. They could still set it up. It's not like the idea has been eradicated from existence.
And Holloway's done for the year. So it's like, the BMF belt is going to be on hold for a minute, folks. So there's a lot of time. By the time Max Holloway's ready to fight next, I mean, everything's going to change.
Yeah, Diego would have gotten a fight in. I think they'll set up the title eliminators pretty quickly, I would hope. I don't know how the UFC operates. We only try to project it. But
I mean, if Diego wanted to fight in Rio, that says a lot.
He's ready to go. Yeah, he's ready. But in terms of Gamrot versus Oliveira, the exchanges on the ground, the scrambles are going to be awesome to watch. It's going to be very fun. It's going to be entertaining. I love Rafael Fiziev, so to see Rafa pull out, it definitely sucked because I felt like this was his big moment.
Do we know what his injury was?
Don't know. All I saw was on his story, he was literally writing down How to not get injured. 1, 2, 3. B4 fight. I had no idea what it meant.
How to not get injured before the fight.
Yeah, but like,
I mean,
he wrote down the checklist, but he put B and then 4 and then fight. I did not know what it meant, but
yeah.
I love
Anyways,
it.
I also like I want to see what Gamrot's made of. Especially this is his biggest fight of his career right now.
Yeah, obviously 2 fights ago he fought, one of the biggest fights of his career, UFC 280. He fought Beneil Dariush. That was a big fight.
Yeah,
he fought Dan Hooker at UFC 305.
He's lost to Dariush and he's lost to Dan Hooker.
But he's beat Arman.
He did beat Arman. That's the big thing.
The Arman win is aging really, really well for him.
Which is aging nicely. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, we talk about these Polish fighters. They've been good, man. They've been hot. Going into Brazil is going to be tough, though, for him.
Especially when you get a Charles Oliveira main event in Brazil. I mean, the fans are going to be off.
And it's not just Charles Oliveira. It's a hungry Charles Oliveira who has a lot to prove this fight.
That too.
Yeah, if he loses this fight, it could be over for Oliveira sooner.
Oh, it's wraps. It's wraps.
Yeah.
If he loses this one, like obviously, I don't
mean,
think
he'll probably get a main event, like another main event or a co-main event somewhere. But like, he hasn't proven much to me
that would have been the last we see of real deal contender Charles Oliveira.
Prime Oliveira, man. Oh, that's gonna be a tough pill to swallow, but
will be, man. But it's going to be a fun fight. Obviously, the rest of the Rio card is looking really good. You got Figgy and Montel Jackson on there. A new fight announcement, Vicente Luque versus Joel Alvarez at welterweight. So it's going to be Alvarez's first fight at welterweight.
That is a death sentence for
Luque. Luque was the sacrifice, but, I guess. Honestly, with how things have been going this year, Luque could win. Luque could definitely win.
He could. Yeah, I'm liking where this is at. You got a lot of ranked fighters on this card. A lot of up-and-comers on this card. I would love to see if we can get one more good. I mean, I think this card's honestly probably fine where it is right now. Could add one more.
To see some more like contender series guys on there. I think that would be really nice. But let's see what else has happened around the UFC. We've obviously had the Vancouver main event switch. So we have that. UFC 321 is finally taking shape as honestly a sleeper card. The more that I look at it, I think that main card is honestly really, really solid. Besides Jandiroba and Dern, MSG, they haven't announced anything there. Overall, the UFC is in a spot where these next 9 weeks are going to be very, very jam packed. Not only for the UFC, but for the content creators too. For us, let's see what else has been announced. Oh, Marco Tulio is fighting Christian Leroy Duncan in the Apex. I think that's a crazy fight. That's going to be a good one for sure. And a main event. We have a main event for the Apex. Steve Garcia versus David Onama. We were matchmaking the featherweight division, and we both called it. We said this was next up. And
we said it was next up. That screams. I'm not going to lie. That fight screams Apex main event. Like
it's gonna be a fight of the night.
That's either the first fight. That's like either the first fight on a main pay-per-view card or an Apex main event, and there's no in between.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be such a firefight. The early rumor was that they were gonna do Waldo Cortez Acosta versus Ante Delia as the main event. But,
I predicted that,
but that would have been a horrible main event.
Yeah, it's just
for what it's worth. Ante makes quick work of Waldo Cortez Acosta. Quick work of Waldo. But I definitely like Garcia and Onama more as a main event. I think it makes more sense for 5 rounds. It's going to be a scrap.
By the way, can we just talk about the fact for UFC 321? I'm looking at their poster now. Can we just talk about how it's like a complete copy paste of the UFC 312 poster? Like, here, let me do a side-by-side comparison real quick. Yeah, I mean, it's a little blatant at this one. This is the UFC 321 poster. Get a good look at it. Nice colors. Oh, sorry, it's on the screen right now. Nice color scheme, honestly.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. I actually really like it. This is the UFC 312 poster, though. If I go back. No, I need to go on. UFC 312 poster. It's like literally copy-paste.
Yeah, it's more or less the same.
It's literally a copy-paste.
Having the city in the background, face-to-face, the two matches.
Yeah. And UFC, what was the other one? I mean, well, UFC 320 is a little bit like it. Not as much.
They're definitely abusing the face-to-face and the little, like, yeah, I don't know. Like,
Was it 316? No, it wasn't 316. It was
no, 3-3 or no, not 313 because the
it
co-main was
was the
different.
13. There's one last year. Was it maybe 299? No, it wasn't that one.
308 was kind of similar in some regards.
Yeah, a little bit. That was a good one though.
Wow, that was
We might need to do a poster ranking stream or something like that. But yeah, literally copy paste. So I don't know.
Yeah. But real quick, hey, if you guys have any last minute comments, questions, hopefully not concerns, please let us know in the comments. We're gonna be on here for just a few more minutes. We'll be sure to answer your guys' questions. But in terms of the outlook for these next, few weeks, I guess we can get into some possible early predictions for UFC 320. Obviously, main event, Magomed Ankalaev and Alex Pereira. Co-main event, Sam's boy, Merab Dvalishvili versus Corey Sandhagen. And obviously, we talked about Erie and Roundtree being on that card. That's going to be an absolute banger.
By the way, can I just say shout out to the Big Ten for scheduling the football game I have to work for 3:30 that day rather than like 7:30 and I would miss the card. So shout out to work, man. I appreciate the hell out of you.
Yeah, man. It's going to be a fun card. And rounding out that main card, Yusuf Zalal and Josh Emmett, and then opening it up, Abus Magomedov and Joe Pyfer. Overall, this is a banger.
Banger.
This is an absolutely fire card. And the featured prelim is a Teba Gautier and Ozzy Diaz, which is going to be a body for Gautier. I mean, this is just such a great event.
I gotta look at this card. This is one of the best cards of the year. Edmund Shabazian's on this card. He's been looking good. You have a top 10 bantamweight fight in the early.
Jusong Yu is back.
What?
Jusong
Yu is back. I gotta look at the UFC website's not updated.
Chris Gutierrez is fighting for Ed Basharat. I mean, even the prelims are looking very, very good.
Yeah, Patchy Mix is on it. We'll see what he can do after getting absolutely fraud checked. Man, this is a fun one. I'm so excited for. I haven't been this excited for a UFC card in a minute. Yeah, like I was excited for
since probably 317. I haven't been this excited.
Yeah, probably since 317.
Mm-hmm. And that was really because, like, even if I wasn't going to that event, I feel like just watching that would have been fire. But
yeah, I think honestly, like, and maybe this is because I had to miss out on watching 317, so maybe I'll go 314. 311 was awesome too.
311 was fire. What else was this year? Yeah, 317, 314, 313. I feel like was a great card as well. That was Ankalaev, Pereira, Gaethje, Fiziev.
313, I kind of blanked out of my head because I did not want Ankalaev to be champ. Respectfully, I wanted to see Pereira continue just a complete reign of terror, active champion, and maybe he brings it back for 320.
Who would win, Prime Dillashaw or Sean O'Malley? Oh,
Prime Dillashaw.
Hey, I like TJ Dillashaw, man. I think I'm taking Prime Dillashaw. I think he's a dog, absolute dog.
I think Sean, and people just know, like, it's not that Sean O'Malley's a bad fighter. I think people just overrate him and comparing him to a prime TJ Dillashaw, I feel like that's just a recipe for disaster.
Oh, stylistically, that'd be such a banger, though. Like,
it would be.
I feel like Dillashaw will get him with the pressure. He's definitely TJ's more of a guy that, really just walks you down and throws you into the fire. Sean works better when he's, working from range. And we've seen when guys pressure Sean O'Malley, a la Merab Dvalishvili, it's easier to kind of fold him. It's easier to kind of get on him. So I think Dillashaw can bring that in spades. Obviously, the wrestling is going to be in his advantage. What are Prime Dillashaw's chances against Merab?
Merab's winning that.
It's close, yeah.
Right now, I don't see. I honestly just, and this could just be me. Right now, I don't see anyone beating Merab in the bantamweight division for a minute.
Yeah,
all right, I'll spoil. That's my spoiler for 320. That's the one spoiler I'll give. I'll just say that right now.
Safe Prime to say, TJ could definitely hang in that fight, though.
He could hang in. There's going to be some guy that hangs in with Merab coming up. I think Umar Nurmagomedov could do it again potentially. He just that cardio, man. Woo, that was bad.
Yeah,
you really like. That was just like an oh crap moment. You gotta you've never seen a Nurmagomedov, a guy from the Khabib camp, that gassed after 2 rounds and winning 2 rounds. He was up 2-0, and he was the most gassed he's ever been in his UFC career. And from that point on, like, you just knew Merab was going to win. I remember watching that fight, and he's so gassed up. He's so gassed. Merab hasn't taken too much damage either. He's just winning on the ground. And Umar Nurmagomedov is so gassed. I'm like, dude, it's over. It is beyond over, even though he's up 2-0. Piotr Yan could do it too. I would love to see that fight. I think that's going to be the next fight for Merab after this one.
Yeah, I remember that fight too, because I threw some nice little money down on Merab. It was a quick little binky for your boy. But
I remember telling people to do that.
Yeah,
I told people to do that.
It was
I told people to. This is when I used to bet back in the day. I made a little 2-legger, Yuri and Merab, both underdogs. I was like, what are we doing here? And tell them to bring me that money.
Admittedly, I did. I took Yuri at first, and then I switched to Jamal Hill like the day of, because I felt like if Jamal came in shape, he was going to win. But that's what happens when you pick against Yuri. But Corey Sandhagen now going against Merab. Yeah, I think Merab is going to just blaze through him like he has. I feel like he's done to so many guys who haven't felt that sort of faith before.
I feel like he's just being fed to a wolf right now. But we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. And he's trying to go at it from like a technical angle. And again, technical just doesn't beat Merab. It doesn't do it. You literally have to sell out.
Literally, the only way you beat Merab is A, you have better cardio than him, or B, you just knock him out round 1. There's no way around that. You have to win. You have to beat Merab by you have to beat Merab by you have to finish Merab. That's what I'm trying to get at. But
yeah, you literally, and you have to do it in the first round. If you don't do it in the first round, you're cooked.
Yeah. Yeah, but you guys can see I'm stumbling my words a little bit. I was talking about a women's flyweight fight, and I said it was a ranked heavyweight bout. So I think this is my time to tap out. We're the Srikar Rajendra by finish here.
Yeah, you know what? Wait, Sam, if you want to hop off for a bit, I'll stay on. I'll answer whatever.
You want to stay on? All right, guys. Man. Shout out to Srikar.
It ain't late for me, man.
There you go. Dude, MMA is life for Srikar, I'll tell you right now. But guys, shout out to you for watching. I see we got 10 viewers in here. Hello. What's up, y'all?
What's up?
Guys, stay tuned for Srikar. I know I'm leaving, but Srikar's going to hold down the fort. Maybe Chris joins. We don't know. We still don't know where he is, but maybe Chris joins. But I gotta knock. I got work tomorrow. Got to get ready for that big day. But Srikar, been a pleasure, man. As always, man. Check out the socials down below, y'all. We will see you. Hopefully, I'll see you on Thursday. Fingers crossed, but I'm excited, man.
Our Perth picks will hopefully be up Friday.
It's a great time to be an MMA fan.
It is. And the fact that I can keep staying on is testament to that. Sam, thank you for coming on, man. Thank you for stepping into the war room. I will catch you very, very soon, man. Much love. Much love. Sir. All right. For those that are still with me, obviously, we just went over the socials. Go ahead, like, comment, subscribe. We're still going live. I'm going to keep breaking down UFC 320 for y'all. If you have any comments or questions, go ahead and let me know. I'm still going to be here. I'll probably be here for hopefully another 5-10 minutes. Just wrapping up shop with this main card. Obviously, we talked about the co-main with Merab and Corey. Who wins, MVP or 2022 middleweight Alex Pereira? I think it's a very, very interesting stylistic clash in that MVP is obviously going to be, they're two technical guys that I think may be a little less trigger happy. You know, they're not going to go looking for a scrap. Obviously, it's not how either guy plays their game. Hot take, I think MVP could win that. He could. He definitely could. I won't lie to you, though. I think Pereira would have got it done, assuming, obviously, the weight cut didn't kill him, because we know right now he's stepping into a camp for light heavyweight, and he's sitting at 235 pounds. Like, the fact that he has to cut down to 205 is already big in itself 2 weeks out, but the fact he had to cut down to 185 at this weight is just absolutely absurd. So is the knockout potential there for MVP? Definitely. I definitely think it's there, and obviously Izzy exposed that in the rematch with those two. But it'd definitely be an interesting clash. I think it would definitely be a lot of point fighting. Pereira will try to close the distance, but obviously MVP is so good at sticking the jab and keeping range. Honestly, hey, John, I might be with you, man. I might pick MVP, actually. I know I said Pereira a little earlier, but I'm kind of talking myself into taking MVP for that. But you bring up a good point, because Pereira, with that style, Can it beat Magomed Ankalaev next week on UFC 320? I think that's the big question everyone is asking. What is the output going to look like for Alex Pereira? And I feel like it's going to be better. I feel like it's going to be better. We have to think about it this way. I've said it every single time I've talked about this rematch. Magomed Ankalaev at UFC 313 fought his absolute best fight against Alex Pereira, and it was a 48-47 decision. He squeaked it out. And upon first watch of that fight, I thought Pereira took it. I thought he won 3-2. And that was, again, Pereira's worst fight, I would argue, at light heavyweight. So if we go into this fight now and look at it as, oh, Ankalaev is going to knock him out because he has all the tools, he's already done it, he's already stumbled him before, I don't think the fight will play out like that. I really don't. I think if Pereira is just a teeny bit better, on the feet, and he throws with a little bit more output, he doesn't get scared, because I like what he was doing with the low kicks. I like that he was really working that in, but that had to be to set up counters. And the counters were not there. And that's a credit to Ankalaev. He was defending pretty well. Pereira was good at middleweight, but I didn't like how he was getting hit by Bruno Silva. Bruno was good back then, but I think MVP is a lot better than that version. Oh, yeah, of course. I think Pereira was definitely in a lot of close calls at middleweight. And he's definitely been in close calls at light heavyweight too. Obviously, we look at the Roundtree fight where he almost got dropped. Well, he did get dropped essentially, but it was kind of almost, he was able to recover pretty easily. But middleweight, you talk about Bruno Silva. Bruno Silva was kind of tagging him up in places. Michailidis in his first fight was out wrestling him in that first round. Jan Blachowicz was out wrestling Pereira at light heavyweight in his debut. He's had a lot of close calls. And that's not to say that the Ankalaev loss was coming. It definitely wasn't. I picked Pereira to win the fight. But a middleweight Alex Pereira, even in their first fight, Izzy and Pereira, Izzy stumbled Pereira bad. I forget what round it was at the end of, but he kind of stumbled him, and then the round kind of ended. We saw that in the first Ankalaev fight too. But MVP could definitely exploit that. He definitely could. I think that's a really, really good fantasy matchup that you brought up, one that I wasn't really thinking about, but I think it could be interesting. There is a lot of potential for that fight to be boring, if I'm being frank, but I'd hope not. But I also think it could be just a technical masterclass from MVP if you really look at it. But back to Pereira and Ankalaev. I mean, this is definitely a very intriguing rematch. Obviously, you guys know my early lean is Pereira. I think a lot could change between now and next week when I do a little bit more film study. I'm just kind of going off the fights that I've watched. But when I go back and rewatch these fights, it definitely ends up being not necessarily a change of heart, but there's more things that I see on tape that I could use to favor either side. And that's kind of the way I go about picks. Now, by the way, my main event picks are cursed. Absolutely cursed for the past month. So take my words as you will. But I just feel like if Pereira is just a smidge better, I think he can get it done. I really think so. And I think he could finish Ankalaev, because I feel like if it goes to decision, I think Ankalaev is going to take it. Just my 2 cents there. But it's a very interesting fight. Definitely a very interesting fight. Can't wait to break it down next week after this Perth card. And even looking down the card, Yuri Roundtree is going to be fight of the year contender. I'm a huge Khalil Roundtree fan. Definitely one of the formative figures for me as I was getting into the sport. Absolutely incredible Muay Thai practitioner. Very, very technical. Knows what he's doing, and he's dialed back that aggressive style that we saw from him in the past where, he was kind of swinging recklessly. And as Joe Rogan would say, kind of beating him to the point where these guys would owe him lunch money. I never usually say that, but he's definitely refined his style to the point where he is a lot more technical, and he's using that to his advantage. We saw it in the Jamal Hill fight. Jamal Hill obviously was a little mad that he wasn't engaging in a brawl like Jamal wanted him to. But Khalil literally said, yeah, you're a dangerous guy. I don't want to be in trouble with you. And I'm going to play this technical game, and I'm going to win. I knocked you down 3 times. I could have finished you, but I didn't. I let you stand back up. I wanted to prove to myself that I could win 5 rounds, and that he did. And I think that's excellent for Roundtree, because you look at the Pereira fight, the big problem was he gassed out. But then you contrast that with a guy like Yuri, where it's this guy is chaos personified. The guy literally comes forward, swings recklessly, throws technical out the window. Since he's been in the UFC, we saw it in the Volkan fight. We saw it in the Dominick Reyes fight. We saw it when he beat Glover, and that was a classic. This guy does not care about technical. Now, he has been doing a little bit better with that, as we saw in the Jamal Hill fight earlier this year at UFC 311. But this guy, I really feel he's a problem. There's guys that swing recklessly and it's like, oh, they're going to get clipped. But Yuri does it very, very effectively. So if the chaos does get to Roundtree, I really, really hope that he doesn't fold. But obviously, if Roundtree plays his game the right way, I feel like if he, can somehow out technical Yuri for 3 rounds or catch him, Yuri is definitely hittable. It's his fight. Again, this is one that I'm going to do massive, massive tape study for. It's going to be an incredible, incredible fight. Yusuf Zalal and Josh Emmett. Obviously, last time we saw Yusuf Zalal was against Calvin Kattar in the Apex. I believe that was the co-main event. I forgot what the main event of that card actually was. It was either Cannonier, Bohio, or Burns and Brady. I'm forgetting which one it was. Forgive me. If Yusuf Zalal dances around Josh Emmett like Lerone Murphy did, he will take a decision. Emmett's at the point where he's becoming too one-dimensional with just the overhand right. We saw that exposed in the Lerone Murphy fight. Yeah, just not much for me to break down here, at least right now. Obviously, when our picks come out, you'll hear different. But if Josh Emmett continues to lean on that single overhand right without having any other weapons to use, it's going to be his demise. It really will be. And I feel like Yusuf Zalal will end up getting it done. Abus Magomedov and Joe Pyfer. I'd like to say Pyfer gets it done by finish. That fight against Kelvin Gastelum at UFC 316, definitely an interesting one. Wasn't one that really sold you on Pyfer as a ranked contender, but this could be the one. This could definitely be the one. They're putting him here to open the main card for a reason. I think the UFC is expecting a finish from Joe Pyfer, and I think he's going to get it done. I think he is a guy that always just comes out with bombs for hands. And I feel like after he goes to decision, he usually just flatlines someone. So I'm thinking that trend kind of holds up here. So my early lean is Pyfer by knockout. And obviously with the Teba Gautier and Ozzy Diaz, the featured prelim. Last fight I'll go over before I peace out for the night. Yeah, Gautier is going to catch a body. He is going to catch a fat body in Ozzy Diaz. It was a setup. Clear setup from the beginning. They want to build the highlight reel of Teba Gautier, and hey, I'm not mad at it. Gautier is a monster. He is the real deal. He is a beast, and I think he's going to take this layup in stride. I just don't see Ozzy Diaz posing any sort of threat to Teba Gautier. I'm not going to lie. So I guess there's an early spoiler prediction, but Teba Gautier, I think, wins this one by knockout. Vicious knockout, and I think he'll come home with a performance bonus. They're putting him as the feature prelim. Again, the UFC does these things very methodically. They want to push their guys. Teba Gautier is one of their guys. And he's making a quick turnaround. Last time he fought was at UFC 318 against Robert Valentin. Made quick work of Valentin, who is more of a grappler. But if Teba is coming at you with forward pressure on the feet, it's hard to deal with. It really is. This guy is the middleweight Francis Ngannou. For those who are tapped into Teba Gautier, I know you're tired of hearing that comparison, but he really is. He really is. And it's not just because he's Cameroonian. It's because he's got the literal bombs for hands. What are your thoughts on JDM versus Islam? This is going to be a fight of the year contender. I really think JDM can do it, man. I really think he can. I went back and I watched Islam versus Dustin Poirier, and I feel like if Poirier was just really, really getting to work on the feet. Now, obviously, Islam got the wrestling going in the earlier rounds, but as the fight wore on, Poirier was in a spot where he was really tagging Islam, and obviously Islam snagged that 5th round Darce. With JDM, I feel like it's just way more trouble because, one, you've got the size difference with JDM and Islam, but 2, I just feel like his scramble game is so good. Jax, that is. Thanks for the reply. I think JDM gets it done too. Yeah, man, I don't know. I can't shake the feeling. I'm seeing him as a plus 200 underdog, and I'm literally thinking like this could be free cheese. With how good JDM's get-up game is, we saw it in the Bilal fight. We saw it in the Burns fight where, he's able to get up from these disadvantageous positions. and then just literally go right back to work on the feet. His cardio is excellent. I feel like he's going to be the biggest stylistic threat to Islam, period. In terms of like what he could do on the ground, what he could do on the feet, I think he could definitely tag up Islam. Now, this all goes out the window if Islam's bulk goes well. JDM Islam is intriguing. I agree. Also, the counterpunching. Yeah, the counters, the combos, all the boxing components and the stand-up elements easily favor JDM. Again, go back and rewatch Islam and Poirier. Islam did not look insanely good on the feet to the point where I would pick him over JDM, or at least pick him to hang with JDM in a striking battle. But again, it goes out the window. If Islam gets the wrestling and we see something that deceives us, in which JDM cannot get up and he can't, get his way out of these positions, then obviously, yeah, Islam's going to control him. And I feel like Bilal's wrestling versus Islam's wrestling is a different thing. If we see a 170 Islam that can have a little bit more control and really just wear guys down, then yeah, he'll take it. But I don't know, man. There's just a gut feeling, and I talked about it with Chris Schroyer, who couldn't be here, obviously, but I talked about it with Chris multiple different occasions. I think JDM is a very, very bad stylistic threat for Islam and Ilia Topuria if he wanted to come out and come up and go to 170, because it's just such a dangerous matchup when you're facing someone who is hulking over you. Now, in the case of Islam, it won't necessarily be hulking, but he'll have the size advantage. But for a guy like Ilia, who is a former featherweight, JDM has got it, man. Like, he really does. So I think that's where it gets a little bit dicey. Now, obviously, Ilia versus JDM, we have no idea if that matchup is even going to happen. Let alone Islam and Ilia, which for my money, I'm taking Ilia in that fight. But I don't know. I feel like JDM is definitely the play. That whole MSG card is shaping up to be a banger. Valentina Shevchenko versus Zhang Wei Li is going to be fantastic. That is a fight that the women's divisions has needed for such a long time. This is a fight that has literally been years in the making. Shevchenko and Wei Li. I'm glad they got it done. I also believe Craig Jones helping JDM for this camp would benefit a lot. I believe so. He's helped him out for every camp, and that's probably why his scrambles are so good, because Craig Jones is such a legend in the jiu-jitsu game. Yeah, that's another point to JDM. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like he's really got it. But yes, Val and Zhang Wei Li, I think that's going to be a very closely contested fight. 2 super fights on the same card for MSG. This is what an MSG card is supposed to look like, man. None of that Johnny Bones versus Stipe Miocic crap. We are getting actual, good, meaningful title fights on this MSG card. So for all the New Yorkers or the people who are planning to go to MSG for this one, good on you. Good on you. This is a card that you should be going to. Edwards and Prates as the featured bout. Another banger. One that I think Carlos Prates should get done, but it's the first time we're seeing Leon against a striker in quite a while. So we know how Leon does against the strikers. He's able to out-technical guys like that, but can he out-technical a guy as dangerous as Carlos Prates? That's the big question. Also, we got Aaron Blanchfield and Tracy Cortez, which is a big women's flyweight fight. Baisangur Susurkayev is facing Eric McConaughey. Hopefully that's a spotlight moment for Susurkayev as well. The guy that Sam dubs as the next Sean O'Malley, which I guess he's starting to backtrack at this point, but hey, it is what it is. We have visual receipts on YouTube. It's always going to be up here. But MSG shaping up to be a banger card. We just look at these next couple months for the UFC. It's looking absolutely fantastic. Let's see if my memory serves me right here. So we have Perth this week. Next week is UFC 320. And then the week after that, our new Brazil main event, Charles Oliveira and Mateusz Gamrot. And then following that week, we go to UFC 321, I believe. Or no, we have Vancouver. We have Vancouver and then UFC 321, Aspinall and Gone. Hopefully Tom Smoke's gone so all the John Bones Jones fans can get off me for a little bit. You know, I don't want to see a world where John is talking crap on Twitter. But after UFC 321, I believe we have 2 Apex events, November 1st and November 8th, and then we have MSG on November 15th. November 22nd will be the Qatar fight night, which is rumored to be Arman Sarukian versus Dan Hooker as the main event. Absolute banger. It would be a great fight. I think Shavkat and Bilal would be a great fight for Qatar as well. That would be fantastic. The UFC is in a great spot. Heading into December, the UFC will be hopefully in an even better spot after we witness all these firefight nights. Now, obviously, if we still had De Ridder and Hernandez and we still had Oliveira and Fiziev, would have been a little bit more intriguing, but you can't be mad at the replacements they brought in. I'm kind of mad about Brendan Allen. I don't think that fight has become as interesting anymore, but hey, I'm a Brendan Allen D1 hater. I'm ready to see RDR go to work with him. So I think overall, it's going to be a very, very fun time to be a UFC fan. Again, want to thank you guys for popping into the stream. Go ahead, like the stream, subscribe if you're not already. We got our Perth predictions coming out on Friday. We're going to record it on Thursday. If we can get it up Thursday night, that'd be great. We're going to try and get it out as early as we can for you guys. We really appreciate you. Again, thank you for 100 subs. Let's keep it rolling. We're on the road to 200. And then soon enough, man, soon enough, we will be on the road to 1,000. We really believe we'll manifest, we'll make it happen. But again, I want to thank you guys for coming into the stream and joining me for about an hour here. My lips are getting chapped, getting a little tired. Might go lay down in my bed. It's looking real comfy right here. But again, lots of exciting stuff happening in MMA, in the UFC. And we're going to be here for the next 9 weeks breaking it down for you. We took a week to recharge and we're back. See you, John Dong. Good to have you on the stream. Yeah, this was a lot of fun. Follow the socials if you haven't. It's going to be all there for you. It's in the description as well. So if you miss it, it's going to be in the description. But again, thank you guys for hopping onto the stream. Peace out from the War Room. I'm Srikar. We'll see you guys very soon.